Welcome to Players Talk Business Podcast with your host, Darius Jackson, Kayvon Frazier. Today we got our brother, our former teammate in the house today, Texas A&M alum, Dallas Cowboy alum, current real estate agent, Jameil Showers. Welcome to the show, bro.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Man, I gotta tell a quick story, though, about how low-key you got to zoom the camera in on Jameil and zoom the camera in on me because we kind of low-key look like brothers.
Yeah.
And I got a quick story. So I think it was my junior or senior year.
Mm-hmm.
There was was it 2014?
It was 15.
It was
so it had to be your
2015. It was my senior year. It was my senior year, and a tornado had hit Dallas, and it hit my grandma's house. And my grandma texted me and was like, hey, the Dallas Cowboys came and helped me, clean up my house today. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. Like,
Yep.
I was like, who'd you meet? She was like, well, I actually met someone that looks just like you. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go, another light skin. Like, so my photo, like, she had a Droid at the time, so it wasn't loading, So I remember like 10 minutes went by, I finally loaded. Like, let me see the picture she sent. So I looked at the picture, I'm like, damn. I had to zoom in. I'm like, shit, he does actually kind of look like me. And so all of a sudden, fast forward, like 8 months later,
Yep.
I get drafted to Dallas. I walk into the locker room, and the first person I see was you. And you were like, yo, I met your grandma. I was like, bro, this is crazy. That was a small world, bro.
Yeah, she showed me the picture, and I was like, okay, here you go. Here's the meal. And then she showed me. I was like, whoa. I said, damn, we do look alike.
Yo, I had the low cut. Bro, at that time, it was like scary, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It was scary.
Y'all do look alike. I ain't going to lie.
That's what we
You look like
I was quiet, but I was quiet through that, but all light-skinned niggas look alike.
You look like, who's the boxer?
Hitman Hearns.
Okay.
I already saw it.
Look.
Okay.
Pull that up. Pull it side by side.
Bro.
Oh, you got the dreads now, so you pulled away. But anyway, so, bro, I mean, from playing ball to medical sales to real estate agent, like, bro, how's the journey been as of recent, dog?
As of recent, I mean, that whole journey I learned a lot about myself. There's a whole bunch of different versions of Jameil that popped out, different times. But looking back now, I mean, it was all necessary. I mean, I wouldn't be the man I'm today. I mean, everybody's going to say the same thing, but wouldn't be the same person without going through all that stuff, so.
It's definitely necessary. And, like, talking about the transition from ball to the real world, I mean, you had a transition within ball, which kind of even prepped you from from quarterback. It's crazy because, like, you're a baller, but at Texas A&M, you had Johnny Manziel in front of you.
Yep.
And then Dallas Cowboys, you get an op, and you had, Dak Prescott in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's just been kind of one of those situations where you can't control, but at the same time, you moved from quarterback to safety, which is kind of like the leader on both sides, but like completely different. So like, what was that even like, bro? Just going from quarterback to safety in itself.
Well, I mean, I remember the day it happened. I was kind of running late that day. Ran in, got my breakfast, the little plastic to-go containers or whatever. Ran upstairs, and everybody's kind of looking at me weird. And Coach Linehan at the time, he was like, "Hey, Coach Garrett wants to see you." I'm like.
Damn.
Like running late, got my breakfast. I didn't even get to eat yet. I'm about to get cut, and go to see Coach Garrett, and he's sitting in there, and like lights all dim. I'm like, man. I was like already thinking about the text. I'm gonna send my parents, or I'm gonna send Chelsea, my wife, and sat down, and he was like, yeah, you've been doing pretty decent at safety, and Coach Bisaccia likes you for special teams. And I think we're gonna move you to the other side of the ball. And I laughed at him. I was like, oh, and he didn't move at all. He was just like staring me in my eyes, and I'm like, oh, you're for real? And he was like, yeah. He was like, go ahead. Coach Linehan, them already know. You'll just go ahead and go to special teams, and then you'll go to the defensive meetings. And then I remember I walked in. Everybody's looking. Especially like Barry Church, and then like Orlando was in there at the time. Everybody's like, what are you doing? Literally, Orlando was like, what are you doing in here? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I really don't know. And then I was like, Coach Garrett just told me I'm a safety now. Everybody's like, man, shut it, get out, bro. I was like, special teams is over. And then I remember Coach Jack was like, hey, he really did say that. He's like, come on, sit back here with me and Kayvon. And that was it. It's pretty much like, bro. And then that whole meeting, I was like, what am I doing right now? Like, why am I in here?
Right. And that's when me and you got close that year.
Yeah.
Because I used to see Jameil back there, like literally, as they going over the game plan and stuff. Because I mean, you know, because I wasn't even playing safety that year either.
Mm-hmm.
That was the year when that was my rookie year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was my rookie year. Yep. So I was barely playing. So Jameil would just be back there in his Bible, highlighting things, reading his devotionals and stuff like that. And I was like, bro, this dude is dope. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's locked in.
So I was just sitting by Jameil the whole time. Shoot, he was looking at his word. I was looking at the playbook or doing something on my iPad. I was, I don't know, I was shopping or something.
But that's perspective too, because you talking about, oh man, he's like locked in. I was lost, is what it was. I was like, I don't know. I'm about to get cut. I don't know what I'm about to do. I was nervous about the first individual period.
Bro, that's what I was about to say. So, like, what was that like, bro?
Our individual periods
Awful.
was real.
Awful, bro.
Was real, bro. Like, oh my gosh, with Coach Jack throwing them
Terrible,
bombs,
bro. Yeah,
bro, you just giving me nightmares right now just thinking about it. He throwing these bombs. You got to backpedal, open up. He throwing bombs to the
you got to track it.
Punt returns, basically.
Bro.
You got to track it. If you drop it, they cussing you out. Like, oh yeah.
It was like on the other numbers, like the other side of the field, where you just tracking the ball high point. It was like 50-yard high point drill, and it was 7 minutes in. I remember, I think we had
7 minutes. He knows this is day. Exactly.
No, it was a 7-minute period. So 5 minutes in, I was like, I'm gonna throw up, and that was it. Because quarterbacks just shuffle through the bags. Toss it to the equipment manager, and then this one was like getting it. And then I remember it was Kayvon and B. Carr were the only two dudes that were like kind of trying to help me out. Yeah. B. Carr was like, hey, just try to do this, Kayvon was like, hey, just come with me, bro. I'll show you. And I was like, I appreciate it. Everybody else was like, yeah, you on your own, bro.
Bro, so like when they told you that, like mentally, were you like, damn, I got to go over how I'm going to backpedal, like your technique? Like what? Did you just go out there? Did you just go out there for practice and just like start backpedaling?
Well, so
like, bro,
it kind of helped. So my dad was a defensive coordinator in high school, so he would make me our warm up instead of going and doing quarterback stuff. I would go do our hitting drills and then our like DB warm up, and then I would go do quarterback for the rest of practice. So some of that stuff kind of stuck. Yeah, and I used to hate it at the time, but I'm very glad that he made me do that. But then really it was 2 years leading up to it. I was doing practice squad safety the whole time. So, I mean, I casually watch, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. And then that's kind of when it happened. I remember Bryce Butler. I caught a pick on Tony and ran it back. And he was like, hey, you might want to chill out. Like, they might move you. I'm like, move me to safety. I'm like, NFL. And they moved me the next year. And I was like, dang, okay. And that conversation played back. But when I went out there, it was like I would just get on YouTube, look at some videos, listen to what Kayvon and B-Car told me. I mean, I went through 8 different techniques on like where my hands go, how I backpedal, how I brake, all that stuff. And then they were trying to help me kind of on the run, but it was a goofy feeling. I felt so stupid probably for the first 2 months until I got into shape.
Was it different understanding like even the coverages on that side of the ball? Was it just different?
You probably knew a little bit of it from playing quarterback.
Yeah. Coverage-wise, I was fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I remember at practice too, if there was ever a run play, he was like, hey, I'll go play the box because that's the hard part where it's like,
reading the fits and stuff like that.
I'm like, what is this? Because you think about on offense, you know what you're doing. On defense, you're reacting. So I remember specifically one time, Coach Richard, when he came in, it was a fire zone. So like the nickel's supposed to blitz, but if the slot goes in motion, then then we go in blitz, right? Yep. And I remember they went in motion. We went over like 5 times and walked through, and I'm just like, what do I do?
My opportunity.
Yeah, this is me. Yeah, then and it's either that or if the tight end, whenever he goes back, like, all right, I got D gap, but if he motions across the ball at the snap, now I got to go flushing like into the A gap and feel the A gap, and I'm like, and then they're moving. I'm like, which one is A gap?
Well, that's why safety is hard because it's very similar to quarterback because you got pre-snap reads to where you're reading your key, right? But it might change pre-snap, right? And then you got post-snap reads, like while the play is evolving and while the play is going on, that a dude may pull the guard or the tight end may yak across the ball or something like that. So you got so many of these reads that you got to be reading while you playing the ball. You trying to play fast. You trying to hit. You got to make the tackle. They want you to punch the ball out. You know what I'm saying? You got to guard them you got to guard them in the man. I got to tell the tight end what to do. I might have to tell the DN what to do with the back safety, the corners. Yeah, bro, it's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, and it's all quick, bro. Like all within like 3 seconds, like the whole play is done, and then all that. It's like, man,
on to the next.
Yeah, you got to know the down, the distance. You got to know like what's the the field, like where you at on the field, like bro,
Yep.
it's a lot of shit at safety you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
mean,
let me play free, basically.
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
I
free,
can,
free. You just back there.
Yeah, just back
all I
up.
can remember in high school is T-step. That's it.
Yeah.
T-step.
And that's
all
like kind of not even a thing now.
That's
yeah,
not
yeah,
T-step,
yeah.
yeah.
Is it not a thing anymore?
I mean,
I thought it was.
I don't.
They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
T-step. So bro, like you had how many years did you have a safety? 2 years?
3 years.
Because going into your first full preseason as a DB, is that when you had the injury?
No, this was my second season.
So you're
my second season. So I thought I had a pretty good camp. Maybe not. I don't know about, but in terms of special teams, I did.
Yeah.
But that was the most confident I felt as a safety. And then, bro, I was just
Even that game, you was making.
You were
some
balling
plays,
in
yeah.
that. You
Yeah,
were moving.
You had a couple tackles and stuff like that.
Yeah, tackles. I had like a pass breakup,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it was like, I wish it had happened a little bit cooler. I mean, literally the tight end caught the ball and ran out of bounds. I'm like kind of jogging after him and just, wow, stanky leg. And I was like, golly.
Yo, what was
It
weird
is.
though is that turf was kind of fucked up that game.
Yeah. It crossed my mind. Like, well, how much would it cost for a lawyer to
Yeah.
Was that the
I mean,
Dolphins- was it Dolphins
because
game?
that was
Bengals?
Bengals.
bro, because like I think the night before, I think they might have had a concert or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they rolled the turf back out, and it was still like ripples in the turf and shit.
Yeah, I remember they were
Damn,
trying to fix.
you need
They were
to
trying
hire
to fix the
Kayvon to be
seams.
your lawyer, boy.
Bro, let's
You
go
remember
back.
this?
Let's go back and watch the tape. Let's go back and watch the tape.
I
Niggas was
didn't-
trying to fix the seams and shit.
Yeah,
right
I remember
before
that
the
in
game.
pregame.
Yeah, bro, I remember that
Damn.
shit. I seen like
Damn.
ripples and shit. I'm like, oh shit.
That's
That
kind
shit
of
real.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
actually wild.
Yeah, but so what you gonna do to Jerry though?
Yeah, I don't know. I might have just disappeared if that happened. I'll be honest with y'all.
Man, so you tore your ACL.
Yep.
It never happens in a cool way, by the way.
Never. Yeah,
Mine
that's
was
true.
in a super weak way too. Literally just blocking the safety, and I just stepped weird. So
that's true.
it was weak.
That's
you know,
true.
on film it looked like I was just like playing it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after you did it though, I mean, I've been through the process. I know how it is. Where was your head at right after you did that? Especially something as significant in that position. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
So it's gonna sound weird. I probably would have been cut that year, so it was kind of a blessing in disguise.
man.
Yeah, because then you get the IR, have a little bit bigger check.
Yep.
You
You get some time to figure it out.
Yeah, get some time to figure it out, kind of get my mental back right. I mean, while I was going through after surgery, like during rehab and all that, it was terrible. I don't know if I went 2 months without getting a haircut. I mean, it was that part was tough, but the position I was in, it was a position of blessing, to be honest, for sure.
Yep. And then you're in the locker room. You're in it,
Yeah.
but you're not. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? You're in there every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you go to meetings at all or no?
For half the season.
I think you did a little
Yeah,
bit.
I did a little
yeah,
bit. I just
yeah.
tried to stay involved because, I mean, it was
Right.
like I was already on the bubble, so I didn't want to just disappear from everybody's
Yeah.
mind, you know? So it was kind of like trying to be seen a little bit, let them know I'm working, all that. But then I was in there
Yeah.
voice sick, trying to get big like Kendall and all them. So,
Oh yeah, getting swole.
bro,
It's really,
super strong.
It's
I was like,
really,
ooh.
it really is like a kind of a blessing in disguise. It
It is.
slows time down. You
And that-
spend time with your fam.
But that's the realest thing you said because you do like, encouraging young athletes. If you get hurt, you need to stay around that facility.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, if you're in a bubble,
Yeah.
because I remember my last year with the Cowboys, I tore my pec
Uh-huh.
and I didn't show up at all.
Yeah.
But also I
It's like,
knew
get 'em outta here.
I knew it was going to be a coaching transition. Like,
Yeah, that's
like
Yeah. So
I
you were
wasn't,
just
I was just kind of like, okay, and I took that time to build up, the business that we have now. But but still, like, I wasn't involved at all.
Mhm.
So the people in the building ain't seen me at all. Besides on game day, I pulled up.
Yeah.
I pulled the game.
You on the
Sweat.
sideline
Home
with the
game,
towel.
yeah. Home games, I'm there.
Dog.
No.
The rest of the time,
Those times.
and sure enough, next year, they don't want to re-sign you.
Yeah.
How was it after you recovered? What was that next year? What did that next year look like?
And it was quick. Actually, I double dipped. So I would do obviously the stuff that I had to do with the Cowboys, but I went with Keisha too. And honestly, she got me back. I was pretty much running full speed, cutting full speed, jumping and everything with no restrictions. Shouldn't have had any restrictions in 6 months, 6.5 to 7 months. And I remember I was out there competing, doing the DB drills, all that stuff.
Damn, at 6-7 months,
Yeah, 6-7 months I think is what
they
it was.
rush you out there.
So
by the way,
September.
golly.
Yeah, well, but I was ready though, and
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, even now, my left leg is still my more explosive leg, but it's when I came back, I had already kind of like studied some of the DB stuff as far as technique, how to cover people, and then that training camp, like whenever I came back that next training camp was my best training camp I had as a Cowboy, period.
What year?
That was the 19th, going into the 19th season, yeah. And that's whenever I was like, man, felt good. I was in the best shape I'd ever been in. I was like doing one-on-ones, actually like making plays in practice, stuff like that, where I was like, okay, I'm kind of feel good about this one. You know, a little bit different too, because it was like Coach Richard was the coach at the time. You can kind of tell in the NFL if they're not yelling at you. If they're not yelling at you, they really don't mess with you. And I remember I gave up 2 touchdowns in the practice one time. He was like, hey, it's all right. And I was like, yeah, that might be it for me. But
yeah, when they ain't paying attention to this.
Yeah, and I also had the mindset too. I was like, I'm just going to go collect film.
Yeah.
Because I figured it wasn't it with the Cowboys, so I was just trying to like play well so the other teams could at least get workouts, opportunities after.
Yeah. What'd that look like right after camp?
Well, so there goes another one. It was the last series. They had this big old, I can't even remember what running back it was. He was huge. He had to be like 240. Now I was tackling him. It was 3rd and like 3, and I was tackling him out of bounds. He ended up getting the first down, but I like tried to force him, sling him out of bounds, and strain my hamstring. And then I was working out at Built for it a little bit. So it was a 6-week period where I'd gotten a little bit of a paycheck.
Yep.
And was trying to recover. And I remember my last.
So did they give you a settlement?
Yeah. They gave me the 6-week settlement.
Yep.
It was the last day I was going to get cleared. It was my last sprint. I was working out over at Kayvon's gym and re-injured it. So then that was like another 4 weeks.
Nigga, you ain't gotta put us on blast.
That's my hamstring.
It was the last round.
Somebody shot me in the hamstring.
They was pushing me, and damn, it popped.
Push me off that treadmill. Nah, that was just
Damn, man. So yeah, you ended his career.
We told his ass to stop. He kept running. No,
So after you did that, were you just like?
Yeah, I had talked to my agent. He said there were 6 teams that had called, wanted me to come work out for them, and then after the extra 4 weeks I called, they were like, yeah, we hadn't heard from them.
The window kind of had passed.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it was leading up into COVID. We were just about to have our first, my daughter Millie, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get into strength conditioning. So I called my old coach from A&M, Coach Jackson, who's with the Browns now. And he was like, hey.
I met Coach Jackson. He's super cool.
Super cool.
Super cool.
He was like, yeah, man, just let me know. He's like, go ahead and work on these certifications. We'll get going. Have my daughter, called him, and then he was like, hey, there's this new virus out. We don't know what it is, and nobody's hiring at all. Oh, I remember I hit him up. I hit Coach Basaccia up, just trying to get in. They're like, nobody's hiring anybody. No workouts unless you're like pretty much like a primetime player. And you got to get tested multiple times, and nobody knew what was going on. So the whole world shut down. They were talking about going to Canada, too cold for me. Just have my daughter. I said, I'm not doing no Canada. It's either I'm going to be in a real world, NFL or bust for me. So who knows?
That's always a tough period when you're trying to figure it out, especially during COVID, bro. Like, I just remember because 2020 was kind of really my last full year, and I just remember my agent saying, like, yo, if you don't get a shot, you won't get a shot. Yeah, that's pretty much. And I was like, damn, all right, let me go get this Pfizer, this 2-in-1 real quick, so I don't got to wait that extra 4 weeks. But now all these research coming out about the Pfizer are good. I feel all right. You know what I'm saying?
I feel good too.
Yeah.
Why Kelsey still shouting them out and shit?
Yeah, they probably gave him
I don't know about that commercial.
They gave him that bag.
Yeah,
bro.
he
For
tweaking.
sure.
He
all
tweaking.
right, hold on. If they were like, hey, Von, we'll give you $500,000 to go endorse our shot, are you gonna say no just because you don't believe in it? You're gonna think about your life, your whole family.
Sitting here, not having the opportunity, I would say no. But if I was presented with the opportunity, it might. I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I'll put it.
Okay, but put it like this though. If they was like, but you got to get a booster shot every year.
No.
No.
No, but what if they said that?
You
though?
don't got to.
No, what if they said that though?
What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I ain't about to.
You're not gonna sell my soul.
Die.
But if they're like, hey, Kayvon, like you don't have to get a shot, but if you help endorse us to get other people to get shots, then we give you $500,000 one-time commercial.
I'm cool on that.
Yeah, I don't know if I will.
It made my stomach hurt a little bit.
You're cool on it because you ain't got it. You ain't been offered it.
Yeah, but that's to say too. I mean, you could put that in any situation. If they offer you $500,000, you gonna.
No, not any situation. Just the Pfizer shot because he brought up Travis Kelce.
with my mindset now, I would say no.
Okay.
It scares me.
I'm gonna say, hey man, get this shot, stay healthy. And then I'm gonna go off camera and I'm gonna say, hey, you don't gotta get it. You don't gotta get it. All I'm saying is I'm not gonna hate on him for doing all these endorsements. I mean, shit's been going right for him right now with Taylor Swift and all that going on. So I'm not gonna hate on my man balling out, but that was like very suspect because we didn't know shit about this shot and everybody had to get it just to get an op, especially lower tier guys, which is 80% of the league.
Yeah, you have to.
Everybody has to get it. If you want to keep playing in the NFL, get this shot.
Mm-hmm. That's suspect.
It's very suspect, but
very suspect.
But it's things that like some things you don't have control of, and that's one of them. You got the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to because of the medical device. You couldn't even go into hospitals without it.
You got Johnson & Johnson, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, your arm going to fall off.
I'm talking about you. Did you got Johnson & Johnson?
He tried not to look over here.
I got that Johnson & Johnson.
You got Johnson & Johnson?
I got that Johnson & Johnson. You know why?
Because bro, they make baby powder.
Bro, I know, but it was the only 2-in-1. That night, I ain't gonna lie, I got sick that night. I got so sick. I didn't even leave my bed for 24 hours, but I was back. I was at a workout 3 days later. I was at a workout. Oof. It got me into the doors, but was it worth it? Probably not.
So Johnson & Johnson came to you and was like, "Hey, we want you to."
I'm gonna say, are you guys still approved by the FDA, and they're gonna say,
and what if they not? And they offer you $1 million?
If they're not,
they offer you $1 million.
I'm gonna say, why are we even marketing this? It's not.
So
approved.
They offer $1 million. You're gonna say no?
Is it $1 million? Is it $1 million and they're approved by the FDA?
Yeah, I'm gonna endorse that.
That's fair. I mean, I appreciate the honesty.
Because you are too, and you are too. So I appreciate y'all being feel good
guys.
Bro, but
but Travis Kelce endorsed it. He endorsed it. The flu shot and the Pfizer shot at the same time. He endorsed that.
It makes it better because it's a flu shot. He might just say, hey, I only believe in the flu shot.
So you going to get both of them at the same time?
I'm done with flu shots.
Oh, you're going to be sick as hell, boy.
Yeah.
I get the flu shot still.
But think about how much they might have offered him a bag because like he already has a bag, big bag. So
it had to be something.
But hold on,
unless he really believed in that shit.
You had to have the shot to sell medical. So how long
you had to have the shot to sell medical?
How long was the period between you ending ball and you getting into medical device sales?
It was a year. Yeah, a year, better part of a year, a little over a year actually. So it was we went through all of COVID. I was like, let me get my real estate license, try to get into commercial. And it was that August. I think it was August whenever they lifted all the like restrictions and stuff. So I started interviewing for commercial. I don't know why I went commercial. It was just like just thinking like chasing money, checks, things like that. And my roommate from college hit me up, was like, hey, we have this opening. It was after I couldn't get hired anywhere. So, hey, we have this opening in medical device sales. It's a managerial role. Pretty much the job is yours if you want it.
You couldn't get hired anywhere. Where did you apply?
Commercial.
Oh, commercial.
In commercial.
Yeah.
So it was just like a lot of.
No one's definitely hiring at that point.
Yeah. It was like a back end of COVID. Office was like terrible. You know, commercial was like kind of iffy. I was like, I didn't want to do residential. I don't know why I didn't. I probably should have jumped into it then, looking back, but it is what it is. And so I took that job and did that for 2.5 years. And it was, but for the shot, it was like, get into it. They're like, hey, this is now a mandate in order to get into hospitals.
For sure.
Yeah. And our boss presented it in a way of like, you don't have to. This is your personal choice. But if you can't work, then, you know.
Why do we need you if
exactly.
you can't get into a hospital?
I mean, he didn't.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him forcing it. He's I'm going to get it because I need to go talk to doctors, and that's what I do. And that's what I did.
To make a living.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean,
y'all still got your COVID cards?
No idea.
Somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
I don't know where my shit at either. Jesus
got his shit. Away, actually.
Jesus is nodding his head. He got his shit still.
He's going to pull it out right now. Look. But no, I get it. Hospitals. And everybody's got to make a living. And that's the leverage they have.
That was a hard part, yeah.
If you ain't getting it, you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could only say no if you didn't really need it. Exactly. I didn't want to get that shot.
Nah,
I got it in the very last moment. Yep. I had no interest in getting that shot, but they force your hand. So, so how long? I mean, first of all, you said you don't know why you didn't get into residential. You went straight to commercial because people be trying to act like residential is like lame and commercial is cooler.
Yeah.
They are two different worlds.
Way different.
And residential is a great starting point.
For sure. And I wish I'd have jumped into it
earlier. So you got your license, but then you were like, okay, did you use the NFL PA program for that medical device sales training?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Well, I'm sorry. So I didn't get into the training, but I did get opportunities that way. So I had interviewed with Stryker and Smith & Nephew's, another big company.
Through the NFLPA?
Through the NFL.
Yeah.
So through the NFLPA.
Yep.
And then this one really was just more of because I knew somebody in it. So that's kind of how I got into Arthrex, because Arthrex isn't a partner with the NFL. It was a company I was with.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And you just met them through the interview process, you're saying?
Through my roommate from college, because he worked for him. And then his sister, I mean, all of us were real good friends. So they've been working for him for like 7 years at the time, 6 years at the time. So I just trusted them.
What was the how long was the training?
For medical device sales?
Medical device sales.
Get the job and get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no training. It was pretty much training on the job. It's a lot like real estate, where it's like you just get into it and figure it out for the most part. I mean, obviously they have like training within the company, but it's as you're working.
What's that business like? Because I know it's like a lot of different versions of it.
Yeah.
Right? And I know it's a wild. I mean, you told me a bunch of crazy stories that you. Yeah, what's the business like? You know what I'm saying? And like, the hours. What's the struggles like?
So
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every business have struggles, but I mean, you have to figure out which one you can handle with your life. You know, and what your passion is. So, So what's that like?
So the business is fast paced. You're in the surgery. So a lot of people don't know. So like for my ACL, the roommate that got me the job was in my surgery. So he sold Dr. Cooper the screw that they use for my ACL.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So he was in the surgery. Literally, as I'm passing out, like, from the anesthesia, he's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, no, I pass out, but it was.
I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you.
For real. But the business is fast paced. It's pretty much you're in charge of like an area, right? So you have like 3 or 4 accounts that you're in charge of. You go in with nothing. You talk to these doctors. Hey, this is what we have to offer. We can offer you this pricing. Our product's better because of this reason. And then they just slowly start to use you over time, and those become like your main, your main accounts. The hours can be good. So like you have like days that are slower. So like surgeons operate mostly on, certain days. So like some surgeons may be real busy Monday through Thursday, and then have Friday, they'll get a couple of cases in, be done by 10:30. But then you have trauma. It's another thing where it's like they come in with like a, broken femur or something. You need all these plates and these screws and all this. I mean, that could be a, 6-hour surgery, so you could be there all day. For me, the challenges for me were, because I was a manager, we go into cases as needed. So if you have a doctor who's trying our stuff for the first time, we're going to be in those cases, make sure everything goes well, answer any questions they have. So those, some of those days could have been like starting at 6:30, the case starts at 6:30, and then you don't end until 5 o'clock. And then for us, since we were on the technology side, so we sold like the screens and the scopes and all that stuff that they use to visualize the joint. A lot of times we were in trials. So we pretty much covered from San Angelo, as far west as San Angelo and as far east as Tyler. And then we had the whole state of Oklahoma as well, which I didn't work in Oklahoma, but we have a guy up there. And those days, whenever you're really busy, I remember I would leave the house sometimes at like 5 o'clock and then get home at 5 or 6. And then it's like 30 minutes to eat. And then you have an hour for bedtime, like, bath time, all that stuff. And then they were down. So for me, the sacrifice of time with family wasn't enough to keep me in the industry, because I didn't love the industry. But like if you want to go to med school and can't get into med school, this is a great lane for people, because you can make a ton of money, but it is a demanding job. I mean, you're pretty much on, I don't want to say on call, but you have, a pretty good schedule. And
you can't really choose where exactly you want to be based out of too. So, I mean, it was a blessing that you got based out of Dallas, because from my understanding, I went on a call with them transitioning out. And, mainly they push the NFLPA. A lot of guys go towards medical device sales because money, salary, money. But they don't really realize, like, the time and the location. Like, you really don't have a lot of say in that. But, like, to maintain that same lifestyle that you were in, sometimes it comes with sacrificing your time.
Oh, for sure.
Or location. But did you have a choice on where you wanted to live, or
I mean, yeah, pretty much. So, like, the difference between Arthrex and, say, like, Stryker. So, Stryker is a corporation, so you pretty much go wherever. Everywhere you go is going to be Stryker. So, I worked for a distributor of Arthrex. So, my employer was technically Pilot Medical, who distributed Arthrex. Yeah, so you have your area. So, luckily, with them, I was based out of Dallas. Like, our hub was in Grapevine. So, I mean, I pretty much, So, I mean, I I stayed around, but then I would have to go travel to San Angelo or East Texas. And
Right.
remember times I'd have to get up at 4:30 to be at a case by 6:30 in Longview, and then get there and the doctor's like, hey, actually, we're not going to use you. So it's like,
oh my God.
So did you get paid or no?
Well, kind of, because I was
your salary, but you
salary plus
wouldn't
commission.
get no commission on that one.
No commission.
Because that's some bullshit.
For real. And then you can't write off because I was W-2, so I couldn't write off, travel, gas, all that stuff. So it's like, man, we did have a gas card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that did help a lot.
Still putting miles on the car though.
Yeah,
on the whip.
100%.
So,
but our boss was real good about taking care of employees. He's a great dude.
So now you transition to real estate. What are like some keys that you learned through all these transitions that you had to go through?
And why did you go back to real estate?
Real estate was like the only. While I was traveling, I'm listening to like real estate podcasts, and it was like the only thing. I would say real estate is the only thing that gave me the same feeling football did. Like in terms of being interested in it and wanting to learn more and know different people who are doing well, stuff like that. Whereas like the same thing as when I was a kid, I'm like watching Steve McNair highlights or Michael Vick highlights. You know what I mean? Like it's just, even if I'm not doing it, it's on my mind. So I was like, let me just go back to it. Let me do residential. Almost like a revelation from God that I was like prideful in that time or something. Like just go back and try what you should have tried 3 years ago, One of those things. So went back and did that. And like for real estate, I'm glad that I did medical device sales because it taught me the business side of things, because I was thrown into a managerial role. So I'm managing people who have been doing this for 14, 15, 16 years, and they're asking me questions and learn how to manage people, track analytics, see what is and what isn't working. So if you're going and getting coffee, lunches with all these doctors and there's, no fruit from that relationship, then let's try a different approach. Maybe you go sit in on cases or do different things. So that's helped a lot in real estate, because real estate is a lot of going and talking to people, making calls, things like that. So it's like if I go do 2 open houses a month for 6 months and I get 0 deals from it, I probably don't need to be doing those things. Let me go try something else. So learning some of that stuff, and then time blocking. That was the hardest part during the whole transition, was like our whole life, and y'all know it too, our whole life is on a schedule. You're told when to eat, when to be there, when the meetings end, all that stuff. And then you get into like medical device sales. That was the biggest like slap in the face for me, was everybody kind of had their own they had their own routine, and I didn't. So I'm like sitting there trying to see what does and what doesn't work. So it really was like a 2.5 year process of trying to figure out
what your routine is.
Yeah, figure out like just how I'm going to be a successful man in America, essentially. And so like that helps with.
It's crazy because you got to start from scratch.
You really do.
You're like, damn, all right, am I going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day and drink coffee first and then work out, or work out and then drink coffee?
Yeah, like little stuff like that don't even matter. Luckily I had some good leadership during that time with our boss, like of our category, and he was understanding. But then you also too, you're 28, 29, 30 something years old. People are looking at you like, what is this dude doing? He don't know anything about business. Like, no, I don't actually. So like I'm sitting in a 23-year-old's shoes, like fresh out of college, but I'm 30 with 2 kids, and people just expect you to have it figured out. Mm-hmm. And it's like some of those things that you learn from football translate well, but it's like it needs to be harnessed, or like it just needs to be guided, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that was a hard part for me.
Yep.
I don't even know if I answered the question, but
no, you did, man. Because I mean, honestly, man, everybody say we're like a step ahead just from playing in the NFL. You get a little bit of financial freedom, a little bit, right? To a certain extent for maybe a couple years, but you're honestly a step behind. You know what I mean? And I tell everybody that it's like, if you're not trying to build and learn other things and other skills while you're playing, you're going to be a step behind when that transition has to, because you're going to be caught off guard when the transition happens.
Oh yeah, every time.
Like, there's no way to time it up. Everybody is going to be caught off guard when their transition happens. I think Tom Brady might have been the only person that was able to plan his own transition, from the NFL.
Man, it still didn't go that well. I mean, he came,
and he had to come back. Right, exactly.
Divorce, all this shit went down.
You know what I mean? So but it's like, if you just spending your whole off season on football, right? To where, like, I mean, you do have to spend the majority because that's your moneymaker, right? That's your business at the time. If you spending all your nights after you come home on football, if you spending all the travel time to away games on football, you're going to be so behind when it's time to transition.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, no, that makes a lot of sense, bro.
That was my regret.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told y'all about Martellus Bennett. You know that E60, it was the Bennett brothers or something like that,
Yeah,
E60.
I remember that.
So he had made this pretty much the exact same thing you just said, where it was like a lot of guys try to start a business after they get out of the NFL. He was like, I started mine because he has that imagination agency.
Mm-hmm.
He said he started his during football because people don't care to help when you don't have like that logo or that helmet associated with you, or they're not as willing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so a lot of people make the mistake of what you just said, concentrating on football and then start a business versus starting a business while you're in football, and then everybody wants to help you invest or start whatever.
You know, at least build those relationships, build those connections. Like, go out and meet people.
Yep.
Like, don't be, you know what I'm saying, just this, I'm a football player, I don't need, you know what I'm saying?
And
no,
I
you
think,
need people. You need people.
I
100%.
think you nailing it right on the head because it's like, you're saying like, oh, if you only work on football, I think it's like the sooner that we're intentional with creating our relationships, right? Because when you're playing football, you got to be all in the football. I hope you eat, breathe, sleep, study, only think about football. But as soon as you're intentional about building genuine relationships with people, that's all you got to do.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to be all about football because, you know, I think we underestimate our offseason. Like the
100%.
The football offseason is probably the most free that any other sport get in an offseason.
No doubt.
Yep.
Like, bro, baseball offseason is super small. You know, and they honestly, like, you know, the pitchers got to start throwing sooner than the fucking DBs.
Oh, they're back in 10 weeks, really.
Yeah, I mean, the
We
baseball
got 6
offseason
months.
is super small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The football offseason, you got so much time. You know, you're probably not in the playbook or like the whole day.
No.
You know, you're working on your body. Yeah, you might spend 3.5 hours, 4 hours training and getting treatment. But that other 4 or 5 hours throughout the day, I mean, you should probably be investing that time somewhere.
Something.
You know what I mean?
Something.
Like,
in every offseason, I felt productive, except for my last offseason. So, like, every offseason, I went back, finished my degree, or did an internship in L.A. But my last offseason, I didn't feel as productive because I think it was like, I was like, oh, shit, the transition's here. The transition's here. And, like, I don't think I'm not ready for the transition, but I haven't seen what I think I could give to the game. And so I focused all on football.
Yeah.
And that shit ended.
It's like about that time, too.
I felt all right because I gave it all I had, and because I already laid groundwork. So all of a sudden, that groundwork that I laid 2, 3, 4 years prior, thinking it's like, damn, what am I going to do now? I chose something, and all of a sudden it's coming to me because I did lay groundwork. I really did. Whether I was being super intentional, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was like, hey, you need to start doing things that interest you outside of ball. Like, finish your degree. Go do that Fox Sports internship. Get to know this business. Get to know these people. And that's what you did it a lot. Kayvon did it a lot, and he.
Yeah, but mine wasn't even intentional. Like, I can imagine if I backtrack and I was intentional. Like, if I had a plan about, like, or, like, you know, if I had a vision at the time, it was like, okay, I want to do this after, I could have made it a lot more intentional. But I was traveling around, going to different gyms and stuff like that, just because we was partying in that city. I mean, honestly, like, we was partying in L.A. Me and Keith would stop at Jamal Liggins' spot, go stop in and say what's up to him. And then 6 years later, we partnered with him on some stuff. So, I mean, it wasn't intentional at all. But I did kind of, you know what I'm saying, and naturally God put me in the situations that I needed after football. Yeah. And I'm blessed for that. But if guys is more intentional while they in the league with the free time that they have, man, bro.
No doubt.
Bro, NFL dudes can be like superheroes out here.
Well, and that's the
already
thing, too. Because a lot of them, too, come from, you know, like lower income areas for the most part. I mean, a lot of people come from some good struggle. Yep. But if I had to say anything, like if anybody wants to say, like, hey, what would you want to sum up about your career to let every other football player know it's that. It's don't concentrate on football while you're in football, but while you're out of it, realize that there is life.
There's life,
There's a lot of life outside of that. So people, I'm telling you, relationships, especially being in real estate, obviously, but like it's about people. People want to work with people they like.
Yeah.
Build genuine, deep-rooted relationships. And for me, like, I was always on the bubble, so I always had the mindset of, like, no, I got to concentrate on football even more. Yep. And who knows how much time I wasted looking at dumb YouTube videos or, you know, I'm like, what did I even do with my time? But it's that thing and then identity. Make sure your identity is not solely on football or in football.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. I'm like, you have to concentrate on that.
Yeah.
That's got to be number one. Like you said, don't think you're too good to talk to somebody because you're a football player.
Exactly.
As long as you don't do that, even if you're not intentional because you don't know what you want to do, as long as you don't do that and just kind of keep yourself on a pedestal, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Because at least you building relationships, and at least you got things going outside of the game.
Yep.
As long as you that, you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? So, damn, I forgot what I was gonna say because that was great.
Well, because other things like you said that a lot of people grew up in the struggle.
Yeah.
What I found out early is like people want to hear about that, because it's a lot of people that grew up privileged.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And those people that grew up privileged, they still want to know what it's like to grow up in the struggle.
Yeah.
So when I get around some people, like they ask me questions like, shoot, I'm excited to be around this guy because he worth, $500 million, right? But he excited to be around me because I went through a lot more in life, like from a struggle standpoint, from a poverty standpoint, than what he ever had to go through or ever could imagine. So guys love being around that. So these young guys who grew up in the struggle, who's now in the league, have a platform, like they need to know that, there is people out here that want to hear your story.
No
and
doubt.
your story can go a super, super long way as long as you learn how to shape it.
And it opens doors like no other. That's what I was going to say. But I was about to talk about someone who is doing it right now, who's a star, and that's Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett.
He's going crazy.
Oh, he has his own real estate team. He'll score a game-winning OT, overtime touchdown next morning talking about, just had a new listing, 350,000. I mean, it's not even $1 million. And he has $1 million listings, but it was new listing closed, $380,000. Congrats to this family. And it's like, crazy. Like he just scored the game-winning touchdown. All of a sudden, he helping a middle-class fam close a house. He
has to be the only player
rules.
that is sponsored by his team that he's playing for.
Oh,
it's
crazy!
Yeah.
It's amazing. And he's in the door now.
He's the official real estate sponsor of the
I didn't even know.
That's crazy. For the team, it's crazy.
Yeah, bro. Think about how many people just want to work with him because of who he is.
Yeah,
but he could be the worst real estate agent ever, and they're like,
and
he's Tyler Lockett though. So it's like,
and
smart.
Guess what? When he's done playing, he's gonna be fine.
So let me ask y'all this, because since y'all both in real estate and you just brought that up, what makes a real estate agent good, right? Because I've worked with a bunch of real estate agents, right? And to be honest, just where I stood with them at that period of time is the only reason why I worked with them, or the relationship they had in a particular area. But you just brought up he could be the worst real estate agent. So what makes a real estate agent good?
I think it's a balance between being sharp, knowing your stuff, being a salesman, but coming from the heart.
Yeah.
Because in this business, I've noticed the people that are killing the game that I've spent time around, a lot of them are just salesmen.
Yeah.
The details just really weren't there. When I sat down and talked to them and even went in situations with them or asked them advice the details really weren't there. They referred a lot of stuff, and I was like, okay, so they're just a really, really good salesman.
Yep.
And then I was with a firm that only did investment properties. And so I learned the real ins and outs of the business because all they were doing was trying to help other people find investment properties, flip investments, turn them into rentals. So I was like, okay, they're working purely from the heart because the price points weren't there. And so I was like, okay, I got to find the middle ground between helping people like me, and then just helping the norm of being sharp and what I know and what a good decision is and I can't chase commission. The minute you chase commission, the minute you're going to end up just like the salespeople that you don't want to be like. So,
exactly.
So I think honestly, being the best real estate agent is the communication in every
100%.
way has to be good. But what are their goals? Why do they want to do this? What's the reason for selling or buying a home? What's your lifestyle like? You know what I'm saying? The communication got to be there. Yep. And then you got to really know your stuff. And if you don't lie. Somebody asked me about an interest rate, and if I really don't know, I'll say, that's a lender question. Hold on. Yep. Let me get it for you right now. I'll put you in a group text, put you on a call with them right now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll delegate the things I don't know. But for the most part, if they ask me a question, it's just kind of like, they're just tossing up in there. I'll say, I'll get back to you.
Yep.
I'll go figure it out. I'm learning something today.
Yep.
And then I'll have the answer. So I think it's just being sharp and being on the side where it's like, you do have to be a great marketer because real estate is about marketing a property.
Yep.
If you're not marketing it, what are you doing? So you are a salesman, being a great salesman, great marketer, but also setting people up for success, because that's gonna come back tenfold.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you make a sale and it don't end up going right, you lost business and your reputation ruined for life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So how you feel about it?
I mean, I'm not, just to add to it is making sure that you're able to manage people's emotions, because it's an emotional deal. It's a lot of money. It's a big time decision for a lot of people. And that's one thing that I've noticed. And it doesn't matter if it's a really, really old client or if it's, this is your first home. A lot of times everything seems overwhelming, and being like that steady, just trust me. So being trustworthy, being like stoic too. I mean, I think stoicism is a part of it, where it's like,
what that mean?
Where it's just like you basically nothing shakes you. So like you're like never wavering essentially. Yeah. And that may not be, that's not in the dictionary, but that's my definition of it. That's the way I understand it. But it's just, I don't know. It's one of those industries where you kind of have to be like all encompassing, and like growth is a part of the whole industry. Because I mean, you got to be trustworthy, you got to be sharp, like you said, you got to be able you not operate off of emotion, you got to be a self-starter, all that stuff. But I mean, I would say communication, like you said too, is probably the key. Because I mean, it's like whether you communicate it or not, it's like how clear you communicate it, because everything's on a timetable too.
Right.
And also just being kind of a specialist in something too. Like I noticed, like when you're first starting, you can't really be a specialist. You're gonna have to go be open to trying out new things, seeing what this is about. You're driving, 40 minutes across town, an hour across town, because you got to get this experience in. But once you get more seasoned and more experience, you got to start specializing, whether that's an area. You can't do residential and commercial. At first, it was like my residential client asked me, do I do commercial? And it's like, well, yeah, my license can do commercial. Yeah, what do you need? It's like, so I did that at first. We didn't end up getting the deal done because they didn't really need it. But then I realized, like, yo, for you to be the best, for you to take this shit to the top level, you're going to have to be the best at this. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, residential, you're going to have to learn residential, right? And you can still get paid on commercial. I'm going to find the best commercial agent in Dallas, and I'm going to refer them, and I'm going to get 25%, but I know they're going to be taken care of the right way.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think people, eventually I'm going to probably have a county that I'm only going to focus on because I built those relationships, right? And so I think it's just a process, and when you get to a certain point, you got to start specializing in something, because if you're just trying to chase a check, you won't be there very long. You might hit one, but how you going? Where's it coming from next? You know what I'm saying? And how are you going to be trustworthy?
So my next question, because you said specializing in something, like, and we was just talking about this before, because, like, obviously with me, like, my business is very specialized, right? It's very specialized. So if I'm meeting up with somebody, or if somebody reach out to me to meet up with me, I know exactly how we can help each other. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly how we can help each other. Or I know if if this guy might not help me or not. And I don't look at meetings like that. Like it could be a genuine friendship. You know what I'm saying? That I have to sit down, or, I'm just spending time with a friend. But, as you're looking at your time and you investing your time in the right ways, how do you balance, like, what relationships you entertain and which relationships you don't? Because real estate is very broad. Yeah. Right? And it's almost like it's not instant gratification. It's delayed gratification. So you don't know what relationship is going to transpire to what. So how do you balance the relationships to where you're not just spending all your time on wasted, on wasted things?
I think, I've kind of had this the last year, like a 2-week rule. I'll entertain something for 2 weeks to get to know if it's real or not. But the more I do that and the more characters I meet, the more of the same characters I come across. And so I can cut that 2 weeks into like 2 days. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I do. I'll talk to somebody. I'll meet with them. I'll entertain it. I'll really try to see what the hell they're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? What we got going on here? And then I'll process it. And if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it don't, it don't. And I'll just say it don't, But now that now I'm a couple years in, so I can get there faster. It don't take me 2 weeks. It takes me probably like 2 to 4 days. Like immediately, I'm like, oh, this is what they're trying to do, because Buddy last year was trying to do that, or I really liked what they're doing because so and so's doing it, and I've worked with that before. So to me, it's just like you got to go through it. You got to have experience to know. Or you'll never know. So you got to entertain.
So at the beginning, you got to entertain everything.
Oh, pretty much. That's where I'm at. Yeah, we're just like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Let me go.
You got to know, whatever. Right?
Yeah. Go to dinner, go to lunch, and then do the lunch. I'm just like, I don't think this was it.
I wasted a lot of time meeting with who got me at first? The damn the damn third-party Amazon marketer.
Oh.
You know, what do they do? It's like multi-level marketing, right?
Yeah.
Where they sell products. So they got me at first.
Yeah.
You know, because you're like, damn, God's talking to me. But that's what they're trained to do. They
Yep.
come up to you randomly in the store like, hey, man, you look familiar. What do you do? And you think it's like God talking to you, but really, like, these guys are trained to do that.
Yeah.
So a guy did this to me in Shields. I went and met with him. I entertained this thing for 2 weeks. We sat at Panera for a whole hour.
Yep.
He's like, I'll tell you what it's about when you watch the video. So I'm fucking watching this video and all this, doing all the steps that he told me. And then I get to the end, I'm like, damn, bro, I really like wasted my whole time for 2
I'm right
weeks,
in there.
bro. And then all of a sudden, it happened like 3 months ago at North Park. This guy was talking to a guy, real uppity guy, like, yeah, man, you know, and then he seen me, and he was walking ahead of me, bro, up the stairs to the Nike store. I just wanted to, it was a new Nike store. I want to see what's going on.
Yeah.
He turned back, was like, man, this is dope, ain't it? I'm like, oh, yeah, it's dope in here. It looks good, you know. And he's like, man, I like them Travis Scotts. I'm like, oh, appreciate it, bro. Yep. You know, and then he's like, yeah, man, so what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a real estate agent. Now, in my head, I'm like, I bet he does like Amazon shit.
Yep.
I was like, what you do, bro? He's like, oh, I just work for Amazon. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've heard of that before.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, me and my buddies last month did like 600. And I cut it off immediately and was on to the next. You know what I'm saying?
Same journey, man. Jumped into it, wasted probably 3 months of my life, you know, just same thing. And then it was the same deal. I was at Walmart. I said, hey, that's a cool car, bro. What kind is that? I said, hey, I'm just trying to get some groceries. It's enough. I'm done.
Like that's it for me.
Yeah, but it's nighttime too. Don't be asking me about my car in the middle of a parking lot, man. I'm already skeptical.
Bruh, so that's pretty much, that was my process. That was my Kay, how did you learn for the most part?
Man, same type of transition.
Yep.
Same type of thing. To where like originally I was meeting with everybody. You know, I pack up my calendar to where it's every hour, damn near on an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody that I can meet, honestly. And now, I mean, you know, I'm very transparent with people now. Very, very transparent. Like, you know, because I just don't believe in wasting time. I mean, I have 3 kids, wife. You know, I really like to balance my time and spend my time with my family too. So, I mean, Jesus looked at me when I asked the question, because just today, every time I'm in the car with Jesus, man, somebody called me and tried to beat around the bush, and they got something to like they got it's something to ask me or some news to break it and stuff like that. And I'll just cut them off and stop them. Was like, hey, like, just get to the point. Like, what do you have to tell me?
Yeah.
And then it always works out, but like, you know, I just don't waste time. So, I mean, learning, I mean, yeah, you do have to meet with everybody. You know, I think it's tougher in y'all situation because it's literally all about relationships, and you don't know, everybody's buying houses. You know what I mean? Everybody needs to live. So you don't know what relationship can transpire to what.
Yep.
I know instantly if somebody is trying to work out or not, right? Or I know instantly if somebody, you know, if we're gonna have some type of business relationship or not.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I can already know, or I know instantly if they're just trying to look for me to do something. Like the one time we was at Buddy's party, in South Lake. At Buddy's charity party in South Lake at his crib.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I know what party you're talking about. I'm trying to think what situation.
You know, and I kind of stepped back, and you was like, I kind of took a step back, and you was like, hey, man, like.
He was just talking. He was just talking.
Yeah.
And that's just me.
And I was just like,
just
you know,
not being rude.
I just can't, you know, this. I know where this is going to go.
I think it's a
you know
difference
what I mean?
between light skin and dark skin. We'd be like kind of entertaining it.
Bro,
and then
I
like,
swear to God.
I'll slowly walk away.
I knew this guy was bullshitting too.
Yeah.
Kayvon was just like, I'm out. You know, me, I was just like, I'm not gonna be rude. I'm gonna let this
Like
man
he'd
talk.
turn around, just walk off. Like,
yeah,
where he go?
Bro, because
I was
he's
like,
just
damn,
talking
bro.
about he talking about bullshit, and then and then slowly he was like, yeah, you know, I'm looking for some people to invest. I'm like, oh, I fucking knew exactly what you was, because I went through the same shit. I went through the same shit that you went through one time.
Yeah,
it was some investors that wanted me to invest in like a tech platform, and they reached out. You know, somebody connected me with them, so I was like, okay, I'll take a look at it. It reached out, took me through an hour like presentation telling me about this platform, and it had to do with gyms and stuff too. So I'm like, okay, this pretty interesting and shit. So at the end of the platform, then they tell me what they on the call for. You know, but I had to ask, you know, probably like 45 minutes in, like, hey, like, so what is this call for? They was like, oh, we're trying to raise this so-and-so money. I'm like, bro, you know, I told them, look, yo, next time, you know, when you're meeting with people to invest in your platform, have a slide at the beginning of what you guys are trying to raise and stuff like that, because you can burn a lot of bridges, right? Like
just wasting time.
Just wasting people time.
Yep.
Like have a slide at the beginning of what you're trying to raise, what this meeting is for. Like just be transparent with me. Don't take me through the whole shits.
Yep.
And then tell me at the end. Like, you know
and
what I
there's
mean?
two different marketing strategies, and honestly, I agree with that. If you're up front forward, they're more likely to learn what this is about rather than you hit them on the back end and they feel like it's a scheme. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
because I went.
Let's talk about it right up. Yeah, right.
I'm sitting with investors. I'm taking them through it. I tell them who he is. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, so we're trying to raise this. Blah 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 blah. And this is what we're set out to raise. You know, blah 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 blah. And it's like beginning of the slide. Mm-hmm. It's not at the very very end of the slide. Like you wasting time if you put it at the very end of the slide, because your asking price, your minimum price may be $100K. What if the people you sit down with don't got $100K to put in? So then you can just cut the time off right then and there.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. Yeah, I don't have that.
You know what I mean? So
yep.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of how I learned going through it. I mean you got to go through it to learn, but yeah, just going through it.
So getting to kind of like more lightheartedness. You know, from talking about business to talking about it, because at the end of the day, we still athletes, right?
Yeah.
My hardest part about being like a former athlete now is becoming a fan of sport.
Oh, yeah.
A fan of a team. Because
you're not no real fan though, because fans be criticizing and shit like that, and you scared to criticize people, so I don't want to hear that shit.
Number one, you're right, because I can't. Okay, so I was telling my wife the other night, she was like, we need to have a team to cheer for, and I get it, because she wants to cheer. She's from Cincy, so she's a Bengals fan. She's like, you need to just become a Bengals fan. It's like, it's just not that easy. I just can't because I wasn't like I was golfing with a group of guys Saturday, and it was right before the Red River rivalry started with Texas OU. And I was like, man, I need to go to a game one of these times, to that game. But then in my head, I'm like, man, if I go to that game, I got to be in a suite. I can't just be in there. You know
like a regular.
And they were like, man, it's fun. You go in the student section, you do the chants, but it's kind of overrated. You do it one time, you're good. And I'm like, I would never go in the student section and do chants, but like, because I've never been a fan, right?
Yeah.
And so he's over here talking shit right now, talking about real fans criticize. The only reason why I don't criticize is because I'm too fresh out. So I can't criticize my peers who I play with. Yeah. Now, once they're gone, once the 2038 class comes in, I'm like, God damn, he can't. You know, I'm going to be talking hella shit. But it's only because my peers are still playing.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, as time goes on, I'll probably buy into being a Cowboys fan because I'm in Dallas. But right now, I just feel like a Cowboys alum. Like, I support them, but I'm not like a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and maybe criticizing is the wrong word, because I do agree with that. I do agree with that. And I would say I'm not a fan, right? I just watch ball, and I like to see good ball. But if it's not good ball, I'm gonna be very transparent that it's not good ball. Yeah. And leading into our conversation, the Cowboys didn't play good ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just very transparent about that. Like, man, like a lot of these guys come into the gym, and they didn't play good ball. I'll be transparent with them too. Like, y'all didn't play good ball.
You be telling them that?
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
you don't.
Yeah, no, for
you
sure.
be telling them?
I mean, I seen J. Lou today. I mean, he had a good game, right?
He did have a good game.
He had a good game.
He had a really good game.
He's
had a good couple weeks.
Yeah, he had a good game.
For
but the team didn't play good ball.
No.
Yeah,
that's rough. I cut it off early, though, because CD wasn't getting the ball. He's on my fantasy team. And I'm out. I went to bed.
Yeah.
So when I went to bed, it was like 24-10 or something. Then I woke up. I'm like, my man got 6 points. So anyway, that's the part for me that I would come in, like, with fantasy.
Fantasy
is low key unhealthy for me.
Yeah.
I'm like everybody's on chopping block, and now I'm also like, you know what? Whole team up for sale. I'm like, it's just now I'm starting to understand the cut piece of it. Like in real life, I'm like, you know what? Do that for Foreman. Hey, who? I got this dude for trade.
You like when you see the ball going there, you like, oh, that's his side. That's his tight end. Damn.
So let me ask y'all this though, because like this is like kind of player talk business type of conversation, right? So the business side of it, like the Cowboys is going into like the last year of Dak's contract, right? They got $60 million dead, right? That is going to be dead like against the cap unless they restructure his deal, trade him or stuff like that. Nobody's probably going to trade and have $60 million against the cap.
Patriots.
They could. I mean, Zeke there, so why not? 2-1-4. But if y'all was the GM right now, you know, examining the play, right, the bad ball that's going on right now, what would you guys do if y'all was the GM or, you know, in this case, the owner of the team?
I feel like you would have to go a different direction.
And have $60 million against the cap.
Oh, man, business-wise, I don't know. That'd be tough.
Bro, because that's going to set you back
it is
a couple years anyways for having $60 million against the cap. But you got to think, you got CD that you got to pay top dollar.
Yeah.
Right? You got Micah that you got to pay top dollar. Yeah. He got to be the number one paid, you know, defensive
Micah's the non-negotiable.
Yeah. Right? But you got CD as well, too.
Yeah.
Like that you got to pay top dollar. You just paid Diggs. You pay a lot of the defensive backs.
Yep.
Like, what do you do in this case, right? You know, it's a tough scenario.
That
you
is
got
tough.
Trey Lance on the back end.
But how do y'all feel quarterback room wise? How do y'all even feel about?
Yeah, it's kind of shaky in there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, kind of is. I mean, realistically,
you play quarterback.
I know, but I'm saying
how
with
you
Dak,
feel in the quarterback
but
room.
To me, you can't.
If you was in that room, how would you be feeling right now?
Same as I do right now, probably. But it's like one of those things. So, like with Dak is still a good quarterback. So who else is out there that you would be able to fill that void with? Because I don't think that Trey Lance is better than Dak, and I don't think that Coop's better than Dak. You know what I'm saying? So
Dak's
it's like
the best situation right now. The only scenario I can think of, only because there's ties here, is somehow Kyler comes to Dallas because he's from Dallas.
Yeah,
and he do be winning a lot at AT&T Stadium. Yeah. But I don't really picture him being a fit here anyway.
I don't either.
All I'm saying is like we're at the point to where it's like I think highly of Dak.
Oh yeah,
but we're at the point to where like, man, something's got to give with this squad. It's on everybody, but bro, like this is the best squad you're gonna get.
Yeah,
this is it. This is the best squad that you're gonna get, and the Cowboys got to get over that hump. And so now the new talk is like, it could be, you know, it's always been the play call in the last 3 years. Kellen Moore is out now. Now Mike McCarthy's playing the call. It's still not good enough. Like, what is it? Is it the play calling? Is it the run defense ain't never been that good. They are built to rush the passer. So as long as you're playing from ahead, you're good. You're golden. Yeah. But if you're playing from behind, which the 49ers are the absolute kryptonite.
Yeah.
Because that's their formula.
Yeah.
They dump down athletes running. It's like, bro, like, what's the answer, bro? What is the answer? I don't know.
I think whenever the O-line fell apart with Trav, like that whole, like the Great Wall of China or whatever, the Great Wall of Dallas, I mean, I really feel like that's whenever it started to fall apart, because Dak in 2016 is a whole different Dak than this year. But to me, I really do, like, just looking at from playing quarterback, it looks like he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It really does. And then when you come off and, like, the quarterback's like kind of laughing, like shaking their head, like, that's a mental thing. Skill level wise, Dak has it. Like, he has the arm, he's got the cerebral, like, football, you know, IQ. He's got all that stuff. He's got the confidence. Confidence never really wavered. Well, I say this year, this is the least confident that I've seen Dak.
Yeah, I mean, I seen his face. Honestly, I was like,
where it's like almost just like,
I seen his face at the end of the game, and I was like, yo, that don't even look like Dak.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So I don't even think it's skill level wise. I think skill level wise, Dak is still a good quarterback, but I really do think there's something. I don't know if it's football related. I mean, he's been through a lot.
He's been through
in the past like off seasons, you know, like with brother and all that stuff. So that injury, I mean, it could be something that's like subconscious.
I think with the Cowboys too, bro, like, people don't understand the amount of pressure you can put on the Cowboys. You have to be really, like, cold-blooded.
Yeah.
You got to be a cold-blooded dude to play here for a while and be really, really good for a super long time. You have to be really cold-blooded.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of quarterbacks out here that's that cold-blooded that can come to Dallas and be super successful for a long time.
Yeah, with that pressure.
Eventually people, like, man, it's hard to block out the noise.
It is.
I don't think you can block out the noise.
Nah, not here.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but see, the thing about it is Dallas they've been trying to get over the hump. You know, we ain't been in the NFC Championship since like the 90s, bro. It's been like 30 years. So it's kind of like at that point to where, like, you know, Dak's already achieved what Romo has done. He's already done that, right?
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, like, I think it's past the players once again, because, like, if you look at the 90s, Troy Aikman was a guy that got it done, but they also had a coach that let them be whoever they wanted to be.
Coach problem now.
I don't think it's a.
Because you gotta make a, like, so back to the question. What move you gonna make? You got $60 million dead cap. The only way to cut out the dead cap is to extend them or trade them. You know what I mean? Who's going to trade for $60 million dead cap?
Yeah.
So then you got to extend them or not.
Hey, that's kind of like a deal right now. And this people are making $50 million a year now. Like $60 million, that's kind of a deal for a quarterback.
$60 million is not no.
It's kind of a deal for a quarterback.
For a quarterback, yeah.
For 1 year.
Oh, yeah. But every time somebody gets a new deal, it's the highest paid ever.
Yeah.
No matter who it is.
It's a tough. What do you think? You've been asking the question.
I wanted to ask y'all. Shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
light skin versus dark skin right now.
I'm stuck because it's like I got way caught off guard by that game.
I was too. I was shocked.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think. I think Trey Lance was a security for them.
A security.
I think Trey Lance.
You think Trey Lance was
because I think they'll spend a year at minimum with Trey Lance at quarterback just to see if they can revamp him or something like that.
It's hard to do that with no experience, and he only's got like 4 or 5 games of experience.
It's either Dak or McCarthy. Who you think McCarthy gonna put it on? Him and get fired? You know what I'm saying? Like, he blaming everybody.
It's crazy because McCarthy has. You know why McCarthy has so much leverage? Because he's won it before. And then just him by winning it back in 2010, that man has all the leverage in the world. So it's going to get tricky, because Dak is a pillar of Dallas. And at the end of the day, they don't care if you can't stop the run. They're going to be talking about, why didn't we win 63-59?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's going to come down to. And we all know it. So
it's always on the Q's
once again, Dak is a peer. I just want to see the Cowboys be great. So I don't think it's on Dak. I do think that could be I've seen this man go 33 or 36 on Sunday Night Football versus the Eagles, a very, very good playoff Eagles team, and look lights out.
Yeah.
Who as a rookie. So he's, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, he can do it.
I don't think
the problem.
I don't think if you get rid of Dak, then all problems are solved.
No.
Is basically what he's saying.
Yes.
And I don't agree with that either. Like, I don't think that Dak is the issue. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. No. Look, hold on. Y'all know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think something happened back in the 90s to get them Super Bowls, and we got some bad juju lingering around. I'm telling you. That's the only thing, because we've always had the teams for it. We got the quarterback whenever Romo's in his prime. You had that for it. You had a good O-line. 16 was it, and then it's just like I
said this in another podcast, and, the defense is getting fast.
Oh, yeah.
To where, like, you need a quarterback that's mobile. Even Brock Purdy was mobile. He was getting out of the pocket on the,
Brock Purdy.
He was getting out of the pocket.
Not Lamar Jackson, just like being able to move.
Yeah, he was being able to move. Like you know what I'm saying? He just was able to move out of the pocket.
The game is definitely changing.
100%.
The game has changed, right?
Yeah,
and I think, if we're just being critical, I think that's one thing that Dak lacks a little bit now.
Almost like the confidence to do it, though. As him
being an 8,
go watch Mississippi State. He was running boys over.
Put him on the Jets then. What's going on there?
They're not going to be good.
Honestly,
I'm being transparent. Like,
I can't.
I'm being transparent. I see how it is. It's only a few like top quarterbacks in this league that could really change the game. That could come to Dallas and be lights out. It's only a few. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just only a few. They defense right now is a championship defense.
100%.
It's a championship defense. You know what I mean?
Once they stop it's hard to say that too, because like you go to Arizona and you lay a goose egg, and James Conner, who's playing against me in fantasy, runs for 348 yards. It's like, bro, stop the Cardinals' run game. The Arizona Cardinals, bro.
Okay, but you only score points on offense when I get turnovers and score 14 points for you. You know what I mean? Like,
but bro, they do have a championship defense 100%. But like, I don't know if it was Trayvon going down that just had them kind of off for a week.
Bland picked. He had a couple picks.
Yeah,
pick sixes.
Yeah, they did because they built for the pass.
Bland
they built for the pass. The 49ers, the Cardinals.
Trayvon not gonna do nothing though.
Trayvon
not gonna do nothing for the run.
That's what I'm saying. And you over here talking about it's a championship defense. What about the 49ers and the Eagles that about to run the ball,
I think their defense
bro?
do struggle with physicality. I mean, even you look at their linebackers. I mean, bro just got out. He just went out.
Leighton.
But even when he was there, they had him And who's number 14?
Bell.
No,
He was a safety.
Bell.
He looked like a safety.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's a rookie. He's a rookie, I think. Yeah.
He looked like a safety though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but that's their defense. They're fast. They run.
Yeah, but you can't stop the run. With
That's
that
what
defense.
I'm saying. They ain't even used their first round pick. Ain't starting. Hankins is starting.
I'm not confident in this team this year. No more, man.
But
Man.
you said it was a championship defense, and
I do think it is. I think it is. But you need to have a championship defense. You need a quarterback that can contain the game. Who can if they score, I know I gotta come in. You know what I'm saying? It's like chess. You score me, but I gotta get a score.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta come back.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And I see. Yeah, 42 points. I mean,
yeah, it's bad.
at the same time, the longer you keep your defense on the field, the worse it can get. So it's a balance. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks. But that we all know that was very that was
disturbing.
very.
See, I will say I'm definitely, especially being a former quarterback, I'm always on the quarterback side. So I'm probably like the last to jump ship. So I don't know if I got a biased opinion for sure.
Getting off that shit. Not shit.
No, man, but other than that, it was that was a great episode. I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate y'all.
Jameil, it looks like we're going to have him back because we got to finish this Cowboys conversation once we have a conclusion.
Yeah, for real.
But
for
Jameil,
sure.
bro, appreciate you coming on, bro. It was a pleasure. Best of luck in your business. I know you're going to succeed because you got the blueprint.
Appreciate you, man.
So
I appreciate it.
Until
Appreciate
next
y'all.
time, bro.
All right, my dog.
Already.